The jungle sky was dark and purple. Rain fell heavily, making the ground wet and slippery. Lightning flashed far away, and the sound of thunder shook the trees. Strange birds flew away from the storm. The forest animals hid, but one human walked alone. Her name was Mira. She was young, brave, and calm. Her hair was tied back. She wore light armor made from alien metal and a belt full of tools. She didn't belong to this planet, but she had lived here for 2 years. Now, she had come with a science team from Earth, but the others left long ago. Mira stayed behind. She stayed because of the panthers. These were not normal panthers. They were called shadow panthers. They were smaller than Earth's panthers, but faster and smarter. They had shiny black fur and glowing blue eyes. They moved like shadows, quiet and smooth. They lived deep in the forest and didn't trust humans. But Myra was different. She had once helped an old panther who was hurt. She had cleaned its wounds and brought it food. After that day, the panthers accepted her. Slowly, they let her walk with them, eat with them, even sleep near them. They became her new family. As she walked through the jungle now, Myra heard something strange. A cry. A scream. It was not a bird, not a person. It was a panther cub. Myra ran toward the sound. Her boots splashed in the mud. Her heart pounded. Pushed through thick plants until she reached a wide, wild river. The water was moving fast, filled with broken branches and rocks. It had rained so much that the river had grown big and strong. In the middle of the river, a tiny cub was stuck on a rock. The cub was shaking, wet, and scared. He slipped, and his small claws tried to hold the stone. It was Luno, the youngest cub in the pack. He always followed Mira. He liked to play with her tools and bring her shiny leaves. Mira looked around. The rest of the panthers were standing on the riverbank. They were growling and pacing, but none of them moved closer to the water. Shadow panthers could not swim. They were afraid of the river, but Mira was not. She threw off her pack and shouted, "Hold on, Luno!" Then she jumped into the water. The cold hit her body like ice. The current was strong. It pulled her down, but she kicked hard. She swam toward the cub, her arms burning, her legs heavy. "Luno," she called out. The cub saw her and cried again. He was slipping off the rock. Myra reached out and grabbed him. "I've got you," she whispered. She held Luno close and turned to swim back. But the river was too strong. Waves smashed into her face. Her back hit a rock. She held the cub tightly, trying to keep his head above water. Her body was tired. Her mind was dizzy. But she saw a fallen tree near the shore. With the last of her strength, she threw Luno toward it. The cub hit the wet ground, rolled, and landed safely. Mira smiled. He was safe. Then she felt her hand slip, and the river pulled her away. The panthers roared. Luno cried out. Myra disappeared into the dark water. The river moved like a monster. It swallowed Myra and carried her away fast. Her body spun under the water. Her arms and legs hit rocks. Her breath was gone. Her eyes were closed. Everything felt cold and heavy. This should have been the end, but the story was not finished yet. On the riverbank, Luno stood shaking. His fur was wet. His eyes were wide with fear. He looked at the wild river where Myra had disappeared. He gave a long, sad cry. The panther pack stood around him. None of them moved at first. They were scared. All panthers knew, never go into the river. The water was death. That was the law of the jungle. But now the human who had saved one of their own was gone, and the law felt wrong. Cora, the old leader of the panthers, growled. His glowing blue eyes looked at the river, then at the cub. Then he did something no panther had done in many, many years. He jumped into the water. The other panthers stared. Then a young female leaped in too, then another, and another. The river roared. But the panthers didn't stop. They dived, paddled, and searched under the surface. Finally, the oldest panther, Koro, saw something. A piece of silver armor, Mira's arm. He swam to her. She was floating, not moving. He bit gently into her. sleeve and pulled. Two other panthers helped. They pushed her body toward the rocks. Minutes passed like hours. At last, they reached the edge of the river. They dragged Myra to dry ground. She did not move. Inside the jungle cave, the pack worked fast. They licked her face, chest, and hands. They covered her with warm leaves. They made soft growls, calling her back. Luno curled beside her, crying softly. Then, a cough, a breath. Mira's eyes opened slowly. She was alive. Later that night, the fire cracked softly in the middle of the cave. It gave warm light and small heat. Mira lay wrapped in soft moss and dry fur. Her skin was pale. Her body hurt. But she was awake. She turned her head. The whole panther pack sat round her, silent. Watching Luno lay curled at her side, Mira tried to speak. Her voice was dry. I'm okay, she whispered. Then something strange happened. Koro, the old leader, stepped forward. He slowly bent his head and gently touched Mira's hand with his nose. This was the most powerful sign in panther culture. It meant respect, thanks, and family. Other panthers followed. One by one, they came closer. Each touched her hand or rested beside her, even the ones who once feared her. Mira looked around, weak but smiling. She had nearly died to save one cub, but now she saw the truth. The entire pack was thanking her. From that night, everything changed. Mira was no longer just a friend of the panthers. She was one of them, not by words, by blood, but by something deeper. A bond made through courage, pain, and love. And though she still felt sore and weak, her heart had never felt stronger. Mira's body healed slowly. Her ribs hurt. Her back ached. But each day, she got a little stronger. The panther pack stayed close to her. They brought her food, warm meat, sweet jungle fruits, and cold water from the rocks. They watched over her day and night. Luno, the cub she saved, never left her. Sighed. He slept next to her, shared food with her, and followed her wherever she went. One morning, Mira sat outside the cave. The jungle was quiet. Soft sunlight came through the trees. She watched Koro, the old panther leader, walk toward her. He sat down beside her. Mira smiled. "Thank you for saving me," she said. Koro looked at her with calm eyes, didn't speak. Panthers didn't talk, but Mira understood. She didn't need words anymore. In the next weeks, Mira moved with the pack again. They walked through the jungle together. She had a walking stick now, made from a strong tree branch. The panthers showed her new paths, secret ones that only they knew. They took her to a hidden waterfall. They taught her how to listen to the ground, to feel the soft thump of animals moving far away. Mira also began to teach them. She showed them how to use tools, sharp stones, water bags, fire sticks. She taught the cubs how to play games that helped them learn. She painted pictures on big flat rocks, using berries and mud. She drew the story of the river, the storm, the cub, and the woman who jumped in to save him. The panthers came and sat for hours watching the pictures. They touched the drawings gently with their noses. They remembered Mira no longer needed her old life. She had once lived in a big ship, with humans, machines, and missions. She used to care about science, plans, and orders from Earth. But none of that mattered now. Now her world was made of fur, claws, trees, wind, and stars. Her home was the forest. Her family had fangs and tails, and it felt right. One night as the moon rose, Mira sat beside the fire again. The flames danced. The cubs played nearby, rolling in the grass. Koro watched from the shadows. Then, something new happened. The panthers began to mimic her movements. They picked up stones and tapped them. They drew shapes in the dirt. One even tried to carry a torch. Mira laughed. They were learning from her, and she was learning from them. Later that night, as she lay down to sleep, Luno curled beside her as always. He placed a glowing blue feather near her hand. Mira looked at him. "What's this?" she whispered. The feather came from a rare jungle. Bird? It was very hard to find. It was something special. Mira smiled. This was a gift, not just a thank you. It was a sign she belonged that night. For the first time in many months, Mira slept without fear. No dreams of the storm, no nightmares of the river. Only peace. Only the quiet breath of the panthers around her. Only the feeling of being truly home. The jungle was quiet that morning. The wind was soft. The sun rose slowly behind the trees. Birds sang above the forest. Everything felt calm. Mira sat near a stream with Luno. She was teaching him how to make fire using a stick and a stone. Luno tried hard. His paw moved in circles, but the fire didn't start. He gave a small growl and looked at her. Mira laughed. Keep trying. Then a loud sound shook the sky. Boom. Mira stood up quickly. The birds flew away. The panthers growled. Something was coming. She looked up. A large silver ship moved across the sky. It had red lights on the sides and loud engines. It was not peaceful. Mira's face turned pale. She knew that ship. It was a human. Military craft. The panthers followed her through the trees. Mira moved fast, hiding behind thick branches. She didn't want the ship to see her or the pack. The ship landed in a clear field. Big metal doors opened. Humans stepped out. 6 of them. They wore armor and helmets. Each one held a large weapon. They were not here to explore, not here to help. They were hunters. Mira's heart sank. She had heard of this before. Some humans captured alien animals for testing. Others sold their parts for money. These men wanted the panthers. She whispered to Koro, "Keep the pack back. Stay hidden." Koro nodded and melted into the forest with the others. Mira stepped out of the shadows. Alone, the soldiers saw her and raised their guns. "Wait," she shouted. "Don't shoot. I'm human." They paused. One of them lowered his weapon. He looked surprised. "Is that Mira? You're alive?" "Yes," she said. "But you can't be here. Leave now." The leader stepped forward. "We're taking samples. These alien panthers could be worth millions. Not leaving without them. They're not things," Mira shouted. "They're intelligent. Save me. They're my family." Soldiers laughed. "Stand aside," said the leader. Mira didn't move. She stood in front of the path to the jungle. "I won't let you hurt them." One soldier raised his gun. He aimed it at her. Suddenly, black blur flew through the air. KOR attacked. He knocked the soldier to the ground. The man screamed. Blood stained the grass. Then more panthers jumped out. Fast, silent, deadly. The jungle came alive with growls and roars. The panthers attacked with sharp claws and strong jaws. The soldiers fired their guns, but they were too slow. The panthers were too fast. One gunshot hit Mira in the arm. She fell to the ground, bleeding. Luno ran to her side, crying. She held her arm and whispered, "It's okay. I'm okay." The fight was over in minutes. 3 soldiers were gone. The others ran to the ship and escaped. Smoke filled the air. The panthers stood around Mira, guarding her. She looked up at the sky, her breath shaking. "They'll come back," she said softly. With more weapons, Koro came to her side. He pressed his head against her shoulder. Mira knew something. For sure now, the jungle was in danger, and she was ready to protect it no matter what. The forest was quiet again, but it was not the same. After the fight with the soldiers, things had changed. Some trees were broken. The ground had blackburn marks. The air smelled like smoke and metal. But Mira was still alive. Her left arm was hurt. But Koro and Luno stayed beside her while she healed. The other panthers brought soft leaves, water, and food. They kept watch all night. The jungle had been attacked. The pack had defended it. And Mira had stood between 2 worlds, human and panther. Now it was time for something more. Days passed. Mira sat near a big rock, thinking. She watched the panthers play and hunt. She saw the cubs run across branches, jump over roots, Grow stronger. She felt proud, but she also felt worried. What if the humans come back? She said aloud. What if next time they bring bigger guns? She needed to be ready, not just to survive, to lead that day. Mira did something new. She gathered vines, stones, sharp sticks, and soft moss. She built signs and tools. She marked the jungle with warning symbols. She carved messages into trees. Using both panther signs and simple human marks, she taught the panthers how to notice changes, the sound of engines, the smell of metal, the shine of fake plants humans sometimes used. She trained the cubs how to hide, how to run silently, how to climb trees high enough that even machines couldn't reach them. The pack watched her with bright eyes. They listened. They followed. They trusted her. One evening, the sun set in golden light. The whole pack sat in a circle. Mira stood in the center. Cora, the old leader, stepped forward. He touched his nose to her forehead. Then he stepped back. No panther spoke. They didn't need to, but the message was clear. She was their leader. Not just a friend, not just a helper. A true part of the pack. Myra had become the panther. Queen? She didn't sit on a throne. She didn't wear a crown. She walked with bare feet and a blade made of stone. Her clothes were stitched from panther fur and jungle vines. A necklace made of glowing feathers and silver wires from her old tech hung around her neck. When she passed, the cubs stopped playing when she gave a signal. The panthers moved without sound. She had become part of the jungle, and the jungle respected her. One day, while exploring deep in the forest, Mira found an old human pod broken and covered in plants. Inside, there was a small screen still working. It showed a warning. Human miners coming. 3 weeks. For ships. She stared at it. They're coming again, she whispered. But she didn't feel afraid. She felt ready. That night, she sat with Luno on a high branch. The stars shone bright above them. You were the reason all of this happened, she said softly. You were just a cub in danger. I thought I would die saving you. Luno purred and rubbed his head against her side. But I didn't die. She smiled. I found something better. I found my place. The wind blew gently. The trees whispered secrets. And Mira knew that no matter what came next, she would protect her family. And this time, she wouldn't be alone. The days passed quickly. Myra and the Panther Pack worked hard. They built traps around the forest to stop enemies. They placed sharp sticks in the ground, hidden under leaves. They used vines to create alarms that made noise if someone walked. Near, the jungle had become a fortress. The panthers were ready. Mira stood with them, stronger than ever. But something unexpected happened. One afternoon, a strange sound came from the sky. It was not loud like before. It was soft, slow, and calm. Mira looked up. A new ship was coming, but this one was different. It was white with green lights. It didn't bring guns. It landed quietly in an open area far from the trees. Mira signaled to the panthers. Stay hidden, she whispered. Then she walked toward the ship alone. As she got closer, the door opened. 3 humans stepped out, 2 women and 1 man. They wore science suits, not armor. They looked shocked when they saw her. One woman stepped. Forward, right? From Earth Team 12. Mira nodded. I am. You've been missing for 2 years, the man said. Everyone thought you were dead. I'm not dead, Mira said. I'm alive. I live here now. The woman looked confused. We came to explore. We don't want to hurt anything. We only scan plants and air. We're not soldiers. Mira studied their faces. They seemed honest, kind, not like the last group. Then the woman asked, Do you want to come back with us? We can take you home. Myra looked toward the forest at home. She thought about the life she had before. Machines, beds, lights, voices and radios. Then she thought of Luno, now hunted with the adults. She thought of Koro, her wise old friend. She thought of the cave, the fire, the cubs, the wind. The stars at her heart was quiet. It had already chosen, "I am home," Mira said. The scientist looked surprised. "You want to stay here?" "Yes," she said. "I belong here." "With them? Then can we see them?" one of them asked. Mira shook her head. "Not yet. They don't trust Isley. Last time humans came, they brought guns." The scientist nodded. "We understand. We'll leave. We'll mark this forest. As protected, no one will come here again." Mira gave a small smile. "Thank you." As the ship rose into the sky and disappeared, Mira walked back into the trees. The panthers were waiting for her. Luno ran to her first. Jumping into her arms, Koro gave a small growl, his way of asking, "Are we safe?" Mira said, "They're not like the others, and they're not coming back." That night, the jungle was full of peace. The stars were bright. The wind was soft. Mira sat at the top of a tall tree, watching the forest below. Luno curled beside her, now almost as big as an adult. His blue eyes were calm. "You know," she whispered, "I could have gone back to Earth. 2 cities, 2 machines, to my old life." She paused. "But that world isn't for me anymore." She looked at the sky. "I found something better." Placed her hand on Luno's head. "I found a family." Many seasons passed. The forest changed. Trees grew taller. Rivers moved slowly. Flowers bloomed in bright colors, and Mira grew older. Her hair turned gray. Her hands became rough. But her eyes still held strength. Her voice was still calm. She was no longer the same young human who had once jumped into a river to save a cub. She was now the heart of the forest. The panthers still followed her. The cubs listened to her stories. The adults guarded her like treasure. Even birds and small animals came close when she walked by. Mira had become a legend, not only among panthers, but across the whole jungle. One evening, the sky was painted. With pink and gold, Mira sat on a soft bed of leaves in the middle of the jungle. A fire crackled nearby. The whole pack sat in a wide circle around her. Koro was no longer with them. The old panther had passed away under the stars many moons ago. Now Luno was the leader. He stood tall and proud beside Mira. His eyes still glowed that same soft blue. But they were wiser now. Mira placed her hand on his head and smiled. "You've grown well," she said. "You lead with your heart, just like Koro." Luno gave a soft purr. That night, under a full silver moon, Mira felt tired. Her body was slow. Her breath was soft. She looked up at the stars one last time. She whispered, "Thank you for giving me a life worth living." Then she closed her eyes, and she didn't open them again. The forest became silent. The panthers sat still. No one cried. But the pain in their hearts was deep. Luno stepped forward. He sniffed her hand one last time, and he looked up at the moon and let out a long, deep howl. The pack joined him. Their howls echoed through the trees, up to the stars, across the rivers, and into the soul of the jungle. The wind carried the sound for miles. Every creature knew the Panther Queen was gone. The next morning, panthers began to work. They did not bury her like humans do. They carried her body gently to the tallest hill in the jungle, the place where she had once stood and promised to protect them. There, they made a bed of glowing flowers, soft moss, and smooth stones. Luno placed her favorite necklace on her chest, the one made of feathers and wires. Then he lay beside her. For hours, silent, still, strong. Many years later, the jungle remained wild. But something had changed forever. Mira's cave was kept safe. Her paintings on the rocks were never touched. Her signs and tools were still shown to the young ones. Every full moon, the panthers returned to the hill. They sat together. They told her story to the new cubs. They remembered the human who gave her life to save one of them, the one who taught them fire, symbols, and courage, the one who became their queen. And so, the forest never forgot. Not because of fear, not because of power, but because love left a mark deeper than any river, louder than any roar. Mira had come as a stranger, but she stayed as family, and now she lived forever in the heart of the jungle. The end.